Hi, welcome to the A-Level English Literature Virtual Open Evening. My name is Jane Shallard and I'm the English Literature Course Manager. So, English Literature at the A-Level, it is a wonderful subject. You get to explore absolutely amazing texts. You look at a wide variety of themes and ideas and things that we understand as being very important to us as human beings, things like love and loss, sexuality, political protests, characteristics like jealousy and villainy. And we can also look at things from particular perspectives like post-colonialism and representations of race and of ethnicity. So what to expect? How is it different from GCSE? Well, for a start, we have two genre studies, tragedy and political and social protest. We have a variety of assessment styles, passage-based questions, unseen material, single text questions, multiple text questions, open and closed book approaches as well. And we also, as I said just now, look at texts from particular political perspectives such as feminism, Marxism, eco-criticism, and narrative theory. You also have a non-examined assessment, you would know as coursework, which is two pieces of critical study, one on poetry and one on prose. So how is the course structured? 40% of the course is aspects of tragedy, and you'll study Othello, Tess of the D'Urbervilles, and Arthur Miller's Death of a Salesman. 40% of the course is elements of political and social protest writing, including Songs of Innocence and Experience by William Blake, Margaret Atwood's The Handmaid's Tale, and Jim Crace's Harvest. And finally, that non-examined assessment makes up 20% of your overall mark. So aspects of tragedy. It might seem obvious, but tragedy is a fundamental part of the human experience, and this is why it's endured over centuries of drama and prose texts. From the Greeks to Shakespeare to the present day, the genre of tragedy helps to explain and explore the human condition and man's frailties. Elements of political and social protest. What could be more relevant at the moment? We live in a world that is full of situations where you have atrocities, oppression and exploitation, and this is why it's so relevant for our literary study. Although it could be claimed that all texts are political, we have to think about our texts in terms of power and powerlessness and what each text represents and how it helps us to understand the world around us. The non-examined assessment, as I've mentioned, you get to choose what to write about. The poetry is Thomas Hardy from a collection, and you get to choose which poems you work on and from which critical perspective. And with the prose text, with some support, you get to choose your own text to study. So recent NEA text choices have included Cormac McCarthy's The Road, Alice Walker's The Colour Purple, Valerie Martin's Property, Jeanette Winterson's Oranges Are Not the Only Fruit, Tolkien's Lord of the Rings, Austen's Pride and Prejudice, and finally Aldous Huxley's Brave New World. So quite a variety, and we can support you in making the right choice and the right perspective to study it from. So is it right for me? So a question you should ask yourself, do you enjoy reading a wide variety of texts? In that case, English literature would be a fantastic choice. Do you like reading longer texts independently? Yes, we will be reading some texts in class, the plays, for example, but the novels you will read independently at home. There is plenty of reading. Would you like to study Shakespeare? You will in literature, and we'll be studying Othello, one of the first texts you study. Do you enjoy reading and writing about poetry? As I've said, there's some great poetry to study in English literature. Do you prefer essays to creative writing? You will be writing a lot of interesting, in-depth critical essays. Do you like creative writing? Then maybe you need to think about a different choice of English, perhaps English language or language and literature instead, which has the option for you to continue your love of creative writing as well. Do you prefer non-fiction texts? For literature, it's all fiction. So again, if you would like to consider looking at non-fiction texts, then perhaps English language or language and literature instead. What do our students say? Well, lots of positive things. For example, one of the reasons I chose this course was because I could select my own text for NEA. That independence at A level is a really important skill to master. So, what else can we say? Well, how do you prepare for studying? The answer to that is read. Read anything. If you've enjoyed studying text at GCSE, perhaps look at other texts by the same writer. Read as widely as you can. Look for books on prize winner lists, for example, the Booker Prize for Fiction. Ask your teachers for recommendations. Thank you for watching. We hope this has been useful. And if you do want to ask any questions, there is the opportunity to do so. So thank you for watching, as I say, from myself, from Joyce, and from Pete, the English Literature team.
Hello and welcome to the A-Level English Language and Literature Virtual Open event for 2020. You might be asking yourself, why study English language and literature at A-Level? I think our response is, why not? You'll read and discuss and analyse some really good writing, exploring a wide range of themes and ideas. We look at writing about geographic disasters, about feminism in a post-Thatcher world, love and loss in literature, what it means to be successful, looking at articles by Charlie Brooker, the highs and lows of social media. Life in 1920s America is brought to life for us through The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. Consumerism since the 1950s, we look at through the lens of Philip Larkin's poetry in The Wits and Weddings, and there is so much more that we do on the course. If you enjoyed GCSE English and are interested in being able to do some creative writing, and you enjoy looking at both fiction and non-fiction texts, you've come to the right place. The course is very simply structured. It comes in 3 parts. The first part is Voices in Speeching and Writing, and it accounts for 40% of the course. Varieties in Language and Literature accounts for the next 40% of the course. And the final 20% is non-examined assessment, or in old money, coursework. Let's look first at voices in speech and writing. Voices are all around us. In speech, in writing, on television, in newspapers, in blogs, on the radio, literally everywhere we are surrounded by speech and writing. We're bombarded with opinions, ideas, persuasive techniques and propaganda, and these come to us through poetry, novels, plays, through advertising, through television reviews. The list is almost endless. But one of the great joys of studying voices in speech and writing is we learn to sift through the different techniques. We learn to figure out how readers and audiences are encouraged to adopt a particular perspective or view, and we look at how successful or otherwise these techniques might be. And the texts we study in this section are Voices in Speech and Writing, the anthology, which is provided by the exam board, and it contains writing from people like Charlie Brooker, Maya Angelou, Alan Bennett, and many others. And in the second year, we look at Top Girls, a play by Carol Churchill. It's funny, it's dynamic, and it was written in response to the rise of Thatcherism in the 1980s. The second part of the course is Varieties in Language and Literature, and in the first year we look at 2 texts. And throughout the world and across time there have been the haves and the have-nots. There's been exploitation, immorality, unfettered consumerism. There has been hatred, there's been envy, there's been resentment and abuse. And these elements create the basis for our study of society and the individual in this section of the course. And we look at The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald, and we look at The Wits and Weddings by Philip Larkin. The final part, of course, is the non-examined assessment, the coursework. And this is the part of the course where you get to exercise your creativity, often one of the reasons that students choose this course. You will end up producing 2 texts, one fiction and one non-fiction, and interestingly, a commentary on your work, giving you the opportunity to guide the examiner through the literary and linguistic choices you have made. You'll study issues of race, ethnicity and otherness in texts as diverse as Queenie, which was the Sunday Times bestseller last year and was also on Waterstone's Book of the Year shortlist. You'll also look at Beloved, which won the Pulitzer Prize in 1988, and Cupcakes and Kalishnikovs, 100 Years of the Best Journalism by Women. If you're interested, you might now be thinking, what can I do to prepare? Well, you can read and read some more. Read as widely as you can. Anything that takes your fancy. Newspapers, blogs, novels, short stories, literally anything you're interested in. Look at which writers win prizes for their craft. Expose yourself to a wide variety of writers and styles. And ask your teachers for recommendations. Thank you so much for watching and listening. We hope you have found this useful, and we really look forward to welcoming you to English Language and Literature in September 2021.
Welcome to A-Level English Language at HSDC Havant. I'm going to be addressing some of the most frequently asked questions we get at our open evenings, and these are: which English should I take out of the three? What does the course cover? How will I be assessed? What subjects does it go well with? And is it good for getting into this career or that career? For which English should you take? The strongest advice is to go with what you've enjoyed most about studying English at school. But, and it's a significant but, you need to be aware that A-level English language has little in common with GCSE English. Yes, we still analyse text, but this is just a fraction of the overall course. And the texts we study are everyday real-life texts, such as adverts, ordinary conversations, social media threads, alongside text that you're already used to, such as newspaper articles and speeches. We'll teach you to take a far more linguistic approach than you have been used to at school. So the course covers much more than analysing texts. We're exploring real-life language use in various ways, exploring questions such as these on the slide. The A-level is assessed by 2 exams at the end and 2 pieces of coursework. The first exam assesses your skills of textual analysis that I've outlined already, but with a particular focus on representations and how language can be used to manipulate and shape our understanding of the world around us. This overlaps well with media and film studies, and you'll become a critical reader who won't be duped by fake news. For the second part of this exam, you'll study how babies learn to talk and how young children learn to read and write. This overlaps well with psychology and cognitive development, but also sociology for the contextual factors that affect such development. The second exam paper is all about how language changes over time and how it varies according to who's using it and where. We'll explore variations according to gender, age, ethnicity, occupation, region, nationality, and we'll look at how and why the language has changed since the 1500s, in particular, the rapid changes it's undergoing right now with new technologies. Alongside this, we'll be exploring and deconstructing many of the discriminatory and incorrect attitudes towards such changes and variations. Again, you'll find useful overlaps with media, film, and sociology. For the coursework, there are 2 tasks. The first is to produce a piece of creative writing and with a commentary explaining your writing choices. The second is a language investigation of your own. You choose any aspect of language that you would like to explore further, gather some data, analyse it, and write a report with your conclusions. Both of these tasks will require good project management skills and a willingness to undertake independent learning. So, how will English at A-level help you in the future? Well, a recent study of employers showed that the skills they most desire in potential employees are a good match for the skills you'll acquire on an English language A-level. Good communication skills, critical thinking, problem solving, and being able to apply your knowledge to real-world situations. And amongst the many jobs and careers it could lead to, here are some that would specifically require an excellent understanding of the English language. I hope this has been useful. Thank you for joining us this evening.